And good afternoon. Welcome to everybody on the KYCAPM show. It's that time of month again that you really thought you could get away with not listening to, but there you are. Here you are again. You can take punishment like nobody else, can't you? Because it's the July edition of the Mulligan Group, the panel of all knowledge. And so, folks, we want to thank you all for watching and listening today because we've got absolutely nothing to talk about. We were just discussing this. Nothing at all to talk about. So I'll tell you what. Can we go ahead and get started with, first of all, with an update on the fire very quickly?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a picture. This picture comes from you, CJ. This is, was it yesterday you took this?
This was yesterday. I don't have much.
Oh, that's okay.
This was yesterday.
Okay, so this was yesterday. You launched your drone up in your neighborhood over in Humboldt and took a quick look over there. So, yeah, and it's far worse now. Phil, you said that you were watching today?
Yeah, I was watching, and this afternoon, of course, I saw the plume first thing this morning. It was up, and it's been there all day.
Mm-hmm.
And then about an hour or hour and a half ago, it collapsed.
Oh,
And that's a bad sign.
that's not
So
good.
When the plume collapses, the fire just bursts in every direction.
Which is what we saw in Yarnell, of
Yeah,
course.
well,
and,
yeah.
along with a lot of other things some years ago. And then, okay, according to, all right, 24 minutes ago, according to the Sheriff's Department, community of Cherry and in the Federal Mine Road area, your area is no longer under mandatory evacuation. They are returning people to their homes. So that's good news today.
Oh, that's good news.
They are now back at set status and open only to residents and public safety personnel. So, folks, keep off the roads in that area if you don't have to be there.
Normally, when the plume collapses, that's a good thing, except for when we had the Granite Mountain 19, when it was a totally different situation.
Well, that was in the middle of the beginning of monsoon, which is what we're having
Well,
here.
we're having that right
It's the
now,
same thing.
but
What
we
was
don't
the-
have the same convective activity.
What was the
True.
last count on the number of lightning fires currently in the state? It was
Oh,
like 16 or
it's
19,
tremendous.
something like that, over the last 2 days.
I will say that InsuWeb, which is InsuWeb.com, which
Correct.
is a very good place to go and see
It
the
is.
latest, is not keeping up with this. That's how busy they've been.
Yeah.
And they're doing their best.
As long as they're busy somewhere else.
Right. And yes, Malcolm, I did see the 737 go over our house.
You are correct. It was sure as heck. I didn't know they had a 737 air tanker.
I texted you with it because
Yes,
he went
you
over
did.
my house coming inbound the other day.
Yeah,
So-
that's cool.
Yeah, so folks know that the fire center is well staffed and underway at Prescott Airport, and that's always been a great advantage for all of us.
Prior to this air tanker season, when it was the last group of 737s we saw in Prescott, Arizona,
Indian
at
fire.
the nope,
No.
No.
nope, it was John McCain's presidential announcement.
Oh,
And
when he came to
he
the
came in. We
courthouse.
came to the courthouse in 2000, and there were 3 of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
There
wow.
was McCain, his staff, and 2 plane loads full of staff,
Yeah.
or press corps.
Press.
Well, I got a quick question. Did everybody feel the earthquake?
Yes.
No.
I didn't. Wendy did.
Oh, I was out in the
Really?
shed rocking and rolling with
Did you
my
feel
welder.
it? Yeah.
My wife came out. I've been through several earthquakes. I've never heard them go boom, not once.
Right.
They
This-
usually
this thing
wave
boomed,
like
yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that's
the
what
boom.
some people said.
like a
that
cruise
they
ship
heard it.
deck.
Yeah.
This one went boom. Yes.
Strange.
It was
Is
very
that the
weird.
tectonic
Yeah.
plates slipping and going boom?
No, this is this is an odd little area, and you're going to learn more on the morning report Thursday morning because I talked to a guy from USGS
Okay.
in Colorado Springs, and he
All
said
right.
that everywhere seems to be just a little active, and of course we have that fault system that they discovered up in Paulden,
Mm-hmm.
and this just happens to be one of those odd times that whoops, something happens. We are not on the edge of a plate; we are in the middle of one.
Right.
Okay.
So little things happen like this, and it was a shallow earthquake, only 5 kilometers deep. So for them, that was a shallow earthquake. It's just a little bit of the land just kind of slipping and sliding.
What was the record earthquake in northern Arizona? I bet you have that number.
I do, but refresh my memory because I've slept since then.
1959,
Okay.
5.8.
And that was
On the
Fredonia.
Richter
That was Fredonia, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
5.8 on the Richter scale.
Okay. Well, folks, in case you're trying to keep up, and if you didn't download your scorecards, bad on you because you've got to keep track of these guys. Let's do the intros real quick and then get into absolutely nothing, okay? Jason
Didn't we just do
Zanzaletta.
that?
No, no. We
All
just
right,
kind of
all right.
launched into this.
All
So,
right.
folks, if you're over in the Cherry area or the Mingus area, just keep an eye on things. Listen to Yavapai County Sheriff's Office. Watch them on Facebook.
And stay tuned to KYCA for the updates.
I was going to say that, but thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you, Phil. You're on top of things. All right, first gold star goes to Phil.
Shameless. Shameless.
That's an extra point right there. Thank you. Okay, so folks, around the table, as we usually do, Jason Zenzaletta here, as you already know, and the person who's here and wishes he weren't. Okay, to my left is, of course, the veritable Bob Recker. Your show next week. Who have you got coming?
I have two people coming. I have John Munderlow, who was the
I'd
he's
like
a
John.
retired water resource manager. I do too.
Yes.
And I've got Larry Tartkowski, the retired town manager, coming in
You're
to
kidding.
talk.
And
we're
why
gonna,
on earth would you have them share a show?
Ed,
Because either one of them could do an entire
of course,
show.
I've had John Munderlow on the Bob Show many times, but
Yes.
not Larry. And we're going to do a podcast right here in this room, and we're just going to talk about old times and see what comes up.
I'm sure that won't be the only thing you all talk about.
Well,
trust me.
we'll wait and see if we get some phone calls. Who knows?
All right,
But it's gonna
across
be a good show.
Across from me, of course, Mayhem on Thursdays. Malcolm in the morning. Malcolm Barrett Jr. How you doing?
Good. Is it morning? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's
Thank you.
Tuesday. It must be Tuesday.
It is that Tuesday of the month, and then of course to my corner, it's the Dean of the Morning Coffee host, and that is Phil King. Thank you. I almost called you Phil Good because that's all I've heard lately.
It gets real fun when we're talking. Well, you know, Phil. Yeah, Phil. And we're full of it, I guess.
You
could-
are. That's
yeah.
for sure. Okay, that's another point for admitting it. Thank you. That's two for Phil today.
Are we playing cribbage or bridge?
Go fish.
Go fish.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started and just throw right into the election. We're 1 week away. Malcolm, what are the numbers? What do you have?
I just got the message from Michelle Birchhill earlier today. They have actually verified and processed 10,000 ballots.
Okay.
And if we look at last 2 years ago, the election, and it was a very contentious election with the mayor's race, over $200,000 spent, and that has never happened.
Never would have expected
That was
that.
over the top.
Yeah.
And we actually sent out 2 years ago just over 34,000 ballots.
Right.
This year is about the same, 34,669, 200 more ballots.
Okay.
Last year, the return ballots were 59.71%, give or take 60%.
Okay.
Normally, we only get about a 51% turnout in an off-year city election,
Okay.
which this is.
Yes.
Well, they
So-
always are.
Right.
Yeah, they always are. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
never
trying to
mind.
make a point here, Phil.
They are. So
Go ahead, Malcolm.
they have just over 10,000 ballots returned, and usually this late in the season,
More than
with that big of a mail-in ballot only, we normally have more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
This is interesting.
we'll see. And the good rule of we've got some contentious races, but the way to really look at it is at the two-person race, and if we've got the 2-year council term, and those are the only votes for two people, so you can really measure what the turnout's going to be on that. You really can't measure the mayor's race this time because there's only one candidate, and there's going to be a whole lot of undervotes.
That's right.
People who aren't voting
Oh, yeah.
Right.
for mayor.
Oh, yeah.
Just not gonna.
So
Yeah.
if you look at the 2-year council race, that's probably going to be the most accurate measure.
Absolutely. Okay, so what the heck? Let's go around the table because it is 15 after. We're going to have to take a break here in a few minutes. Obviously, we're going to have a winner in the 2-year race because it's
Yes.
only two people for one seat. Any ideas or feelings at this point where we stand in terms of who's ahead and who's behind? And
Nope.
I mean,
No
this just
idea.
is.
We're going to the general, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. If
But-
nobody gets 50% plus one, everybody goes to the general.
Right, but this.
And that's the lunacy of a primary for a nonpartisan election.
Okay, but I'm talking about the 2-year seat where you have two candidates. Obviously, one's going to beat the
Correct.
other. Okay.
They're
Well, there are
gonna
going to
win.
be two people elected on August 1st, no matter what.
Correct.
Phil is
Phil
going to
King
win.
and the 2-year seat.
Phil,
That's right.
good.
Feel good.
That's -1 for you, Malcolm. Okay. As usual, you're
You
behind.
said, yeah.
As usual, you're behind. Okay. No, very quickly, I don't know how to judge this because Connie has been on the council. Connie can tell me has been on the council for about a year, right? Maybe not even a year.
Well, year and a half.
a year and a half. Excuse me.
And she's run twice before.
And she's run twice before. Tony Hamer's a newcomer.
I think the important thing you didn't mention is she ran twice and lost both times. The voters didn't want her.
I was being polite.
That the council appointed her anyway.
The thing
Right.
for me is this whole event has just kind of snuck up on us this year. It just happened so fast, and all of a sudden now next
Are you
Tuesday,
kidding?
it just seems
It was
like
agony.
well, yeah, the thing itself was, but the time, I don't know. It just seemed, I don't know. So
Well,
anyway,
it is the earliest primary we've ever had at August 1st. Usually it was in September.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
We went to September then. Yeah, why is it so
Remember,
I know,
remember
yeah,
the
that's what I'm
the 2001 election was on September 11th. That
Yes.
was the primary.
9/11, I remember very well.
That Rowley won
Yes.
that day
Yes.
as mayor.
Yeah.
But remember, the state changed the filing requirements and the petition requirements. That's what did it.
Okay,
That's true.
so
It bumped
okay.
it all up.
Yeah.
so since we don't have a sense of the 2-year seat, let's take a look at the 4-year seats. 3 seats, 4 candidates. Is anybody going to win next Tuesday?
Possibly.
Yes, I
And
think
I-
so.
You think how many?
I think
I would
one,
only say
I think
one.
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 That's
One.
just a guess, but I
That's
think one.
yeah, that's probably a good guess.
Okay.
Well,
and I think
you're gonna look at the STDs all coalescing behind one, and probably a single shot,
right.
and that would be Kathy Rusing, and she probably has the best chance of winning. But in the primary,
In the
and
primary.
if she does, then the other 3 go on to the general.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've got another
For 2 more
months of
two
this, or
more
3
months
well
of
September
campaigning.
3 months, 3 months of
Yeah.
campaigning.
Really?
And if
3,
nobody
yeah.
gets 50% plus 1, they all go to the general,
Right.
which is insanity. City should have 1 election, no primary. Go to the general, end of it.
Plurality, and you're in, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well,
Top vote
when,
getters
when
win,
I
move
when I
on.
ran in 2001, there were 8 people running for
That's
4
what's
seats.
that's what's been happening.
Right.
Is the
Primary.
more recent population of town feels that they're dislocated or dissociated from the city government, and so people are not stepping up
Oh, okay.
to run
Because everybody was
for
running back
office.
then.
And we used to have a lot of them,
It's
and
the
we would.
nastiness and
we
the
would-
expense that
Yeah.
are terrifying.
And we used to
people.
sort
Yeah.
it. We used to sort
Well,
it
that
out in the primary, and
Right.
we'd drop about 3 candidates, like when you ran, like
Yeah.
when
Well, the
we
rule
ran.
is two candidates for each open seat.
Right.
Go on if there are that many, and
Yeah.
that's what. Yeah.
Well,
so-
in our election,
And there
in
won't be.
93,
Yeah.
3 of us won in the general. 3 of us.
Yeah.
And then you went on, or 3 of
the
us won in the primary, and you went on to win in the
In
general.
the general.
Yep.
You were the only one that had
Yeah.
to run against Jerry Harrington.
And I beat the only incumbent who lost.
That's true.
Of course, I did it by 64 votes, too.
And I was the newcomer. But
Yeah.
Nancy Holliday, me,
Wow.
and Karen Fann all won in the primary.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. We're gonna have to take a break. It's about 19 past. So right now, I think that's our prediction for the election. I think that's how it goes. This election has been I would say the least participatory, the least spending, the least. Yeah, I think we got spooked 2 years ago, big time, by $200,000 in the mayor's race alone. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, we've got more things to go on. Scintillating conversation. In case you haven't kept up, Phil King has 2 points. Malcolm is -1. Bob, you just win automatically just because you stay out of it. So,
That's right.
so if you're
That's good.
if you're
That's
looking
good.
for more, 928-541-1016. If you dare to call in. Otherwise, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back right after this. Only you folks could hear what goes on here during the breaks. I'm going to sell the tapes one of these days. Malcolm Barrett Jr., Phil King, Bob Recker, in no particular order, here on the Mulligan Group.
I'm sure the NSA would be interested to know what we discussed.
Well, they know what's
It
going
would
on.
just
I
be
mean, come on.
bored to tears.
If
Is there a microphone?
If they don't already know, then they are a lot poorer than I thought
Yeah.
they were, or else we are that boring. Okay. Very quickly, I know that the issue of the hotel came up before the Preservation Committee. This is the, what is it, 5-story hotel now?
5-story.
Okay.
It's a 55-room hotel, which incidentally is 1/2 the size of the St. Michael.
Okay.
The St. Michael is 101 rooms.
Yeah.
All right.
Huh.
However, here's a question that a friend of mine posed to me. Don't know if this was addressed because, I mean, who listens to board meetings anyway?
Right.
But a question is, if you're putting 55 rooms in the middle of Whiskey Row in an extremely busy area where you already have an established parking garage, where's the parking?
The parking garage. Now, what some people have said is,
Really?
wait a minute, 55 rooms, that's 55 rooms a night plus 20 employees, that's 75 rooms a night.
Right.
You're assuming 100% occupancy.
which it will during the busy
and
times.
peak times. Look
Okay.
at what the St. Michael is using of that parking right now. Are they using 150 parking spots a day, every day?
No.
Well, because
No, they're not.
How many
people
spots are there?
come to Prescott
remember?
and stay in a hotel room and keep their car parked all day long? No, they're out walking. They're out driving around the area doing whatever they do to recreate. So the peak parking times for the hotels are overnight, not during the day, during the merchant
We heard
period.
the same thing when they proposed the Spring Hill Suites at the Depot
Right.
Marketplace.
Correct.
We heard the same thing about the Hilton, and they, of course, built their own parking lot.
right.
Right.
But every time it's the same arguments
over and over
again.
parking and traffic and
Yeah.
water and lions and tigers and bears. Oh my.
Okay. Well, Malcolm, you're going to have to recuse yourself. You used to own that building, so
Well, the key is used to.
used to exactly.
That was 8.5 years
Well,
ago.
and
Yeah,
let's
that's not long enough in Prescott.
and
terms.
let's
Yeah.
be
Okay.
straight up about it. That building is not a historic building by any means. Even
It's not a building at
it's-
all.
Yes, exactly, and it's dilapidated. And what's the one next door or one down where the Western Auto used to sit?
Uh-huh.
That
Right.
building collapsed in the '67 snow.
Yeah.
So that piece of Whiskey Row is not historic. I think everybody thinks
Because it's on Whiskey Row,
that
this
it's
building
100
is
years
not
old.
salvageable.
It's not 100
Okay.
years old.
Well,
There's
let's
no
talk some
sidewalls.
practical
There's-
parts of this, though. Where are they going to stage all the materials to build this building?
Where
are
are they
going
going to
put
stage the
everything?
materials to build anything in Prescott?
Yeah.
Well, how are they going to do that? Does anybody have any idea? Are they going to try to lease something over there at the junior high? Put a bunch of stuff over
Well,
there?
Which
I
is a
think-
possibility.
I think that's part of the conversation. However, what you're saying is if any building is demolished or burns down in Prescott anytime in the future, then what are we going to do to stage it?
Well-
For example, the proposed City Hall reconstruction. Where are they going to stage the
Yeah,
construction
same
for
argument.
that? It's the same argument.
Well, except there's room over there. Once
Where?
they wipe out the building, they're going to raise the building.
and raise that historic old city hall
They
Well,
are.
You
It's
don't
like we were
stage
never there.
materials.
that
You don't
dates from
mistake-
1962.
It's a little
you know.
tough to stage materials on top of your excavation site.
Yeah.
What they normally
But you're
do
gonna-
in any big city, and we're not a big city,
But the,
but you find
Could have fooled me.
and you lease staging areas off-site,
yeah.
and then you bring them in incrementally. And from what I understand from the
Okay.
construction is this is a modular construction project.
Well, and besides which,
Like the parking garage.
what's that? That
Right.
issue has nothing to do with the decision-making process.
Correct.
Right. That's a
It's-
problem.
that's-
That's a problem of the future.
Yeah, that's their problem. That's not a city problem.
Well,
Correct.
right.
And it's
but-
like
You
the
have to
whole
leave traffic lanes open. You have to leave
Yeah.
fire and safety considerations open, and you have to leave the rest of the merchants downtown open for business.
And it's-
you can't shut them
The
down.
How many stories is this
conversation
thing
is
gonna be?
the conversation
Five.
takes
5 stories?
place like the collective owns the building.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the case at all.
of course,
Now,
no.
you know, in case you didn't hear, last week I had Steve Pearson here on the morning show last Friday. And Malcolm, I don't know if you heard what he had to
did.
say.
I did.
I thought it was a very interesting take on it because he is a business owner downtown.
Right.
And
He
Steve,
owns the Palace building now.
the Palace building. That's
Recently.
Right.
Does.
Yeah.
Really?
And so Steve said he really didn't support the hotel coming in, but he supported private property rights. And if the city supported it, then he was for it too.
Yeah.
And if the city said okay, then he's all for them doing whatever they want.
And quite frankly, he said it wouldn't mind it if it were just an empty lot.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the most productive thing to do with that property.
We've got one of those downtown
Yes.
already.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
that's
And
the
frankly, if the proposal fits within the building codes, there's not even a public process
even
to
be a
go
pu-
through.
public
through.
process.
well, that should be a planning and zoning and city council issue, and that's about it. You know,
If the applicant meets all the building requirements, there is no planning and zoning or
Right.
city
Well,
council
well,
decision.
Because
Okay.
you're not
It's
looking
DRC,
for anything
development.
outside of the codes.
All right.
Development Review Committee, which also talks about construction and staging
Yeah.
and everything else.
The public doesn't own every lot in the city of
Of course
Prescott.
not.
Well, no,
I
of course not.
I want to switch
But-
over
But
real
they-
quick
but
with
they
the
talk-
public could. We could raise enough taxes to buy every lot on Whiskey Row and bulldoze them all.
Well, there's your open space then.
There you have it.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Bob has thrown the yellow flag. Bob, you got about a minute.
I know. I got a minute. The
Is that a
Sundog
penalty?
Connector Road. Been thinking about it a lot.
Okay.
It's 3.5 miles.
But it's your neighborhood.
And yeah, we live out there, but there's only one direction out of Yavapai Hills. There's probably 1,700 lots in that subdivision.
Right.
Yeah.
Phil,
one
where do you remember
direction
that happening
out.
during our time?
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
Well, we
Forest
had
Trails.
Forest Trails.
We used to
We had-
call Forest Trails the world's longest cul-de-sac.
Yeah, we had-
You're developing the same thing in
You
Yavapai
can't get
Hills.
out, and in the back of Yavapai Hills, you can look right down on 89, and
and-
there's no road to it.
And I'm
Correct.
telling you, it's good. I don't see it passing. I don't see it going through.
Well,
It's been in. We've been talking about it for probably 15 years.
Longer
We could
than
put
that, it was on the
10
general
lanes
plan,
wide on Highway 69, and it doesn't solve the
It's not.
problem.
No.
69 is a nightmare.
Well, the problem is funding this thing because it's going to take years to build, years to fund, and then you've got to get past everybody's disapproval.
It's not going to be built in my lifetime,
No.
or your lifetime, or your lifetime.
Well, I don't know about
Oh,
that.
I don't
about
either.
the youngsters.
I don't know. Phil's going to live forever. I mean, come on.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Is that right?
Do we-
CJ agrees with you.
Yeah, okay, there's the vote there. Okay, that's another point for Phil for living forever. He's winning right now. Bob, you're in trouble.
I know.
But Malcolm, you were out from the beginning. Okay.
Hey, I'm the youngster here, except for you.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm the junior statesman.
I was the
Yeah,
child.
I'm the oldest one
liberally.
here, I think.
You, how old are you, Bob?
75.
Do we really
This
want to
year,
get into this
January.
debate on the air? Okay, we got to take a break.
How old
The
you're-
music is playing,
Ah,
and Scott
42.
says it's time to go. We'll be back after this, folks, if you dare. Back here on the KYCA PM show. If you're watching this debacle, well, send in your name, address, and phone number, and I'll compensate you later. Phil King, Malcolm Barrett Jr., Bob Recker, Jason Zunzaletta, and we're halfway through July's edition of the Panel of All Knowledge, and so far we haven't solved a thing.
No, I just wanted to follow up on the Whiskey Row thing.
All right,
and
you're up
hearing,
next. Yeah.
You're hearing, save Whiskey Row.
Right.
Well, we went through Save Acker Park. We went through Save Bullwhacker Hill. It's save the blank. Always
Save
sells.
the lakes.
Save the lakes.
We did
which
save the
we
lakes.
did by
We really
buying
did
them.
that one.
That's
But
right.
I saw the quintessential answer to that the other day because I saw the T-shirt that said, "Save the jackalope."
The jackalope.
The jackalope, they're an endangered species. We have to save the jackalope.
Well, I haven't seen one lately. I guess
thought-
it is
I
endangered.
thought it was the old Sam Steiger, save the jackasses,
Yeah, yeah.
after he shot him.
And there's Malcolm's contribution to today's show. Thank you. You're done.
No,
Yeah,
that was
but
Sam
anyway,
Steiger.
Yes, I know.
You always
He shot him.
You
I
always
know.
hear "save the whatever,"
There-
and it's always a good slogan, but it's usually pretty meaningless.
You remember the conformity of architecture on Whiskey Row for a
Oh.
period of time there, like
Re-
Santa Fe or something,
Remember
that
when-
everything would look
Right.
Yeah.
old Western or whatever.
Remember
whatever.
when the St. Michael's was pink?
Yes, I do remember that.
Oh, my.
Yes.
Charlene's, yeah.
Miss
Yeah,
Charlene.
yeah.
Miss Charlene, pink. But why should it be conformity? It shouldn't be.
Well, I'm saying
It
that
has never
died.
been
it
conforming.
Died. It just went away after a while
Which
because it's just not
which
practical.
Prescott are you going to save?
I'm going to save the one, the
1925?
Beleri building. Let's
Yeah,
save the Beleri
save
building.
the Beleri building.
To-
Now that it's been renovated.
Well,
Yeah.
but that's the inside. To cite the prince of Prescott architecture downtown, Bill
Yes.
Otwell,
Yeah.
you can't fix it.
Yeah.
It's
It
just
is-
like the old city hall. We were bringing it into the modern age of the 60s
Yeah.
with the architecture of the 60s.
That's right.
And as Elizabeth Ruffner once cited, the architecture should represent the time era or time period in which it's built.
Yeah.
And I could not disagree with that more. I think it should complement each other. It should not contrast. You don't have to have it conforming. It should complement each other.
Okay.
How about
We
the
sh-
Chamber of Commerce building sitting over there all by itself, kinda?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It needs to be saved. I mean, it's the old sheriff's office.
I think we need to put in a call to Howard Rourke.
Okay.
And who is?
Never mind.
Never mind. I know.
If you
yes.
don't know the illusion, then it doesn't matter.
No,
Phil,
there-
you're
yes.
always on the next plane. I mean, come on now. You know,
Give him a point
it's
for that.
Malcolm here. You got to be careful. Another point for Phil. Okay, Malcolm, that's a -1 for you and a -1 for the term. Well, you're not as bad as you usually are, so that's not pretty good.
Well, or maybe not as good as I usually am.
Let's not get into that again.
All right.
Okay.
Bob, you wanted to.
Let's jump in. Bob, you direct this train wreck.
I did. I had a thought. I've been watching at the federal level with the impeachment. They're starting to talk about it all the time. Republicans do, and I can solve this problem with one sentence.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I can identify the problem with one sentence.
Okay.
The Democrats don't have a Barry Goldwater. There is nobody in the Democrat Party that is willing to walk over to the White House and tell Biden to leave. They have no guts.
Well,
and that's the way you solve this thing. He needs to go. He's going to go. They should take care of it. Now, the only guy who could probably do it, what's his name? The guy from New York.
New York?
Yeah, the head of the Senate.
Oh,
Chuck Schumer.
Schumer, yeah.
Schumer can't do it.
Schumer,
Pelosi can't do it. He
no,
gave it up.
no, they
she
won't
gave it
have
up. None of them. They can't do it.
Okay, Bob,
So all I'm saying is one last sentence.
go ahead.
The only
There is
person that
one
can do it
person
is Obama,
Nope.
and Obama can't do it because I think he might rattle some skeletons loose in his own closet.
Michelle.
Well, Michelle.
What
Now
happens
that was
if Michelle steps up to the
now
plate?
that was part of my thing.
That is my biggest nightmare.
If Obama did it,
Yes.
showed some backbone and went over there and told Joe to get out, which I think the Democrats should take care of this problem,
They need
not the
to.
Republicans.
They need to.
They need to, right? Then that would set Michelle up.
Well, you know what? At least we're well respected in the world stage again.
Right.
Remember the promise? We are going to be liked and well respected worldwide.
All I'm saying,
Once we get rid of bad Orange Man.
Well, we've turned out. I think that's turned out to be a very high bar.
all I'm
Well,
saying,
Do you
all I'm
remember,
saying is
do you
that
remember
the
what Bush said when they got rid of Bush? They said, "Do you miss me yet?"
yeah.
Oh yeah.
All I'm saying is that the Republicans are trying to fix it, and the Democrats can fix it by walking over to the White House,
Yeah.
and they don't have the backbone to do it.
They have
There's a reason
Kamala
why.
in the way.
That's the problem.
That's the
Remember
problem.
Spiro Agnew?
Yeah.
They wanted to get Nixon, but they had to get rid of Agnew
they
first.
had to get rid of Agnew.
And
Agnew first.
Nixon missed the boat when Agnew resigned because he could have appointed Barry Goldwater to the vice presidency, and Nixon would have finished
But
his
we
term.
would have been in nuclear war then, right?
Oh, yeah.
Remember
Right.
that?
Yeah,
Right.
of course.
Remember?
Everybody remembers
we weren't
that.
gonna, Barry Goldwater was going to escalate the war in Vietnam.
Now, one
Thank
other comment on
goodness
the
that
national.
didn't happen.
I want to switch over to.
Let Bob have his.
Yeah, I want to switch over to Vivek Ramaswamy.
Okay.
He's the
Yeah.
only guy that's
He is- I
running.
like him.
He's the only guy that's running that sounds unpolitical. He's speaking in normal terms, normal English. He states what he's going to do, how he's going to appoint judges to the Supreme Court, how he's going to get rid of the Department of. He's very specific,
He
and
is.
he's not doing the mumbo jumbo words that we get out of all the politicians at that level these days. So I think he's going to do very well, as I predicted some months ago on this show.
Okay.
Because good guy.
Then I'm going to do an early prediction round here very quickly. How long before DeSantis drops out of the race? Predictions?
He won't.
He's already fired 25% of his staff today.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you got to think about that one, Phil.
Yeah.
No idea?
I don't know. It's got to. The whole thing's going to
it all-
shake out really strange.
Yes.
It's going to things are going to start shaking out after the first debate in August.
Okay. Well, then there you
that's
go.
That's coming right
Yeah,
up.
it's a couple 3 weeks away.
Which is insane. You
Don't
talk about insane primaries.
I
what
like
are
the
we
way
doing?
Canada runs their elections.
60 days, do it and go.
I don't-
60 days. You cannot campaign 60 days prior to 60 days prior to the election. You have 60 days of frenzy and it's over.
Yeah, but those are parliamentary systems, and that's different.
But this is America. We're already campaigning for 2028 right now.
Yeah,
But I think the Democrats would give up Joe for Kamala because you've got a first woman and you've got a minority first
Zero
woman.
chance.
And I'm not
I
saying
can't
she's
do
Well,
good,
can
but
the
I'm
same-
saying that they'll give it up and
Can
let
the
her
same-
run as the incumbent.
can the same people pull her strings that are pulling Joe's strings?
Well, you see, what I mean
Yeah,
by doing
right.
that is when you look over here to the right and look over here to the left, and then that some people would call that to center, other people say either up or down. You see what I'm saying?
I like
Yes.
Venn. I like
Thank
Venn,
you.
and
All
I
right.
like Venn diagrams. I like Venn diagrams.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
You know, I'm gonna call a timeout here just to get you guys under control.
Okay.
Phil.
Will Biden
Oh,
be,
look, there's
will Biden be the candidate?
There's a
is the
caller.
question.
No. And that's my prediction
I
right
agree-
now.
I agree,
Okay,
no.
You want the final word? I'm going to do the final word
Okay.
here right now before we go to a break.
Okay.
Biden will give the speech, and I think December. I will not seek nor shall I accept the nomination. And he instantly becomes a lame duck and is meaningless for the next year. And that opens it up to Gavin Newsom walking in. That opens it up to Michelle, God help us. That
As
opens
he
it,
exits
Well, you know,
stage
you're
left
probably-
while the
that's
staff's
practical.
waiting stage right.
stumbling
That's the
off into the sunset.
Well,
All
without
right.
a Barry Goldwater, then what choice do they have?
Okay, we're running a little bit late. We've got to take a break. We've got Bud on the line. Bud, what are you thinking? 928-541-1016. We'll be back after this. Nine two eight 541-1016. I don't know why you would, but there it is. Everybody's got their headphones on. That means that we're going to go to line 2 and Bud. So, Scott, go ahead and bring him in. And, Bud, are you there? Are you there, Bud? Bud, you're on the air. You're the 5th member of the panel.
This Bud's for you.
Okay, well, I'm not hearing anything from Bud. Anything from Scott back there? Are we good? We lost him? Okay, well, Bud, if you call back in, well, you're braver than I am. So, all right, we're going to
Well,
let's take
We
let's
kind of
take-
had the
Ma'am.
Oh, there he is. Hey, Bud. Yay, you're there. Hey, thanks for joining us. You're the 5th member of the
I'm
panel.
not on. You cut me off.
You're on. You're on now. You're on now.
Go, bud.
Okay,
Go, Bud.
well, he didn't. Whoa, we've got some really. I don't know what's going on with the phone today. Okay, all right. Bud, I'm sorry. We brought you in, and then we heard you say, well, they cut me off, and you hung up. So if you want to call back in, we'll put you back on.
take one more shot at it.
All right, one more shot.
Topic was roads.
Roads, yes,
And
okay.
I think that brings to light the exact question about the city election that we were trying to deal with. If you elect the right people, you get the right priorities: police, fire, roads, city infrastructure, and not raising taxes that go by rainbows and unicorns.
Rainbows and unicorns.
Some people haven't been here long enough to know what rainbows and unicorns are. Spell it out, Phil.
Blue sky.
There you go.
Yeah.
Blue sky, empty lots, and things like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
looks like Bud.
take
And
take-
raise taxes to do it when you've got things that need doing like roads.
And speaking of roads, we're going to try and bring Bud back on line 1 again. Okay, Bud,
Okay.
can you
Yes.
hear us now?
Yes, I'm on.
All right, Bud. Hey, thanks for your patience. Thanks for calling in, and you're a brave man. I appreciate you calling in.
Well, I thought Bob hung up on me, but I just want you to know. I don't know who's putting Bob down, but I already voted for Bob for city council.
Okay.
Okay.
Now that's a write-in vote I can get behind.
Yeah. And the next thing is we don't need a cackler in the White House either, so we need to get rid of both of them.
Yeah, well,
Well,
yeah, we don't disagree there.
Well, you can't do it constitutionally, though. I don't think.
there's
And my question is,
Go
how
ahead.
do we get our federal money or our governor or something to do something with I-4? I just come through it, and I broke shackles on my fifth wheel, my RV trailer, on that damn road several
Okay,
times.
watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. I-40.
But it's crazy.
It is, and yes, I've traveled that road myself, and it's awful, and I've had a couple of friends do it just recently and had just about the same experience you did. So how do we get ADOT to make I-40 a priority? Apparently, a friend of mine said they're starting working on I-40 to rehabilitate it. They're starting at Flagstaff, not Kingman, which is probably the wrong way.
but are they going Flagstaff
Absolutely.
East or Flagstaff West?
Well, now that's the big question, isn't it? But really desperately needed around Kingman and between Kingman and Seligman, Kingman, Ash Fork even, really.
Well, when you come in from California over the bridge, there's a sign that says rough road, and that's their fix. You go up and down, it's like a washboard.
Well,
And then come in Seligman, they've done about maybe 5-6 miles of Seligman right there. but then you go on this rough stuff again. That's crazy.
It is.
Well,
It-
do you
See, my
think-
solution is blow up the bridge, and then you don't get all that eastbound traffic.
If you blow up the bridge and you assign a new toll ferry
okay.
and you do it by weight,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And
and
then
you
they
charge
Let's start weighing
entry
trucks
into
again
the
instead of
state.
Just letting them go
And
too overweight,
Well, there's a lot.
tearing up the road.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of truck traffic. There's no way to get them down to I-10. That's
Right.
just the way it is. So
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think ADOT knows the problem. They are working on it. If you call looking at it, working on it. But I'm not sure. They said that they had to take down about 2 to 3 inches on the roadbed in order to get down far enough to make this work.
Yeah, and
I know a company that's really good at doing that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think we do.
certain things
I've
are
I
the
have watched
state's
that milling
responsibility, and other things are the Fed's responsibility because it's a federal interstate highway.
But
Yeah.
sometimes it comes down to a county responsibility
That's-
as well.
Yeah, and different
Well,
pieces.
it
Not on
takes
the interstate.
county to
Yeah.
push the feds to do something.
Well, that's
Yes,
Bud,
and
there's
they
no
could.
there's no disagreement here on that, Bud. That's for sure. All right, thanks.
I just come back from the Midwest. I come through Indiana, South Dakota, Wyoming, and they've got everything moved to transition to 2 lanes, one way, and they're tearing the roads up, making
Right.
new.
New roads.
Yeah, 2 or 3 inches ain't gonna make a difference. They've got to go in there and take it down, and put new B base in there and do it the right way.
Now, you would hope that they would, but I will believe it when we see it. So, Bud,
Yeah,
thanks for
oh,
the call.
absolutely.
Thanks for the call. We're going to have to move on, okay?
All right, Bob. We'll see you later.
Okay, thanks, bud.
All right. Well, that's a vote for. Well, Bob, you get a point because he knew you and he voted for you, so that's a
Yeah,
point.
Well, that's-
Same
that's a
problem. It's a
negative.
matter of spending priorities.
Right.
The
What do you
Fed-
want to spend
the
your
Fed-
money on?
The feds are looking at the redistribution and green programs and all
Are
of
the
that. The
feds-
last thing they want to do is build roads.
Right.
Are the feds
Cars
the solution-
bad.
Are the feds the solution to our problems, or are the feds the problem?
A little bit of both.
You think? Who said that?
When have they
Yeah,
have
that
they
was
ever
Ronald
been
Reagan.
the solution?
Ronald Reagan.
That's right.
You know, what was it about Ronald Reagan that makes all supposed Republicans a Reagan Republican? Have you heard that term before?
Oh, of course.
Of course.
And what made Ronald Reagan a hero in the Republican Party?
He won.
That too.
That's right.
That's a good point.
Common sense,
It was common sense. It was statesmanship.
Yes.
It was humor.
being
Yeah.
practical. Right.
He was good at it. He
defaced-
was
yeah,
good at the game.
He was
He-
good at the thing when he was in the debate with
Oh, with the
I
president.
won't,
the Republican
I won't
president.
hold your youth against you.
yes,
Mondale,
it's
Mondale.
Yeah, Walter Mondale. It's just incredibly.
You want an interesting thing? I did see a poll, and I'll end with this, and we'll go to a break. I always get the last word, but what can I say? There was a poll.
It's your
earlier-
microphones.
I know there was a poll that was taken at one of these conventions the Republicans gathered at, generally youngsters apparently, and they said, if you could pick a Republican for president, who would you pick? And of course, Trump was first. Second was Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
Well, I guess we could run him again.
He would probably perform better than Biden.
Well,
could vote in
now you see
Illinois.
that goes without saying. That's a point for Malcolm. All right, yay.
I was at
I'm
the
digging out, baby.
I was at the
to
68 convention
Yes.
in Miami Beach.
Oh, wow.
Goldwater, when he appeared, got longer applause than Nixon did, and some of the delegates were sitting there going, "Golly, maybe we ought to run him again."
Well, in your heart, he's right.
Right,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And
All right.
it turns out he was.
He was.
The
Of course he
historians
was.
will tell you that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break with that. We've just got a few minutes left after the last break, and we get ready, guys. Predictions are coming up. We'll be back after this. Show Jason Zenzaletta with you. I haven't even looked at the cameras. Have you guys?
Cameras?
Cameron?
Oh, I know. Yeah. If you're looking at us from out there, okay.
Trivia question before you start.
Go ahead.
What do Ronald Reagan and Barry Goldwater both have in common?
I know there's an answer there, but
Yes,
I'm not
there
sure.
is.
Okay, go ahead.
They're both Reformed Democrats.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
true.
that's
That
right.
is true. That is true. They were both Democrats.
And
But
Donald
that's-
Trump, by the way.
And Donald
Yeah.
Trump, too.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true.
But that's when being a Democrat meant that you were a classical liberal
That's correct.
to the point of like a JFK.
That's
Socially
correct.
liberal but somewhat conservative fiscally.
Okay, so RFK Jr.
What about him?
Crazy.
RFK Jr. There you go.
That guy is ripped, absolutely ripped.
He works out. He does, and he is.
Well, he's also got testosterone implants.
Oh, I see.
The
Okay.
little pellets you.
He's also very liberal. He doesn't
Too
come across as
much
very liberal.
information.
Okay. Now the thing is that yes, like you said, he is an extremely liberal person. As much as the Republicans, or at least the rhinos, want to make him out as the savior for taking on Biden. He sounds good when he's talking about the anti-COVID vaccine, but otherwise, he's just about as far left as all the rest of them, particularly when it comes to environmental issues.
Yes.
I mean, does he have a chance against Biden and against Gavin Newsom, for that matter?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
They're
no,
gonna-
the
they're gonna eat
Democrat,
their
the
own.
They
Democrat
won't let
Party
him.
has gone so far left, hard left, that it makes him look
Right. They,
to the right of Mitt Romney, for
they
example.
changed the primaries.
Yeah, they've changed
there'll
the
be no
rules.
debates.
No.
It's done.
Right.
As long as Biden sticks around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
What do you think about what the
come on now.
Israeli Prime
interesting,
Minister just did?
Yeah. It's
To get
interesting.
rid of the ruling of the Supreme Court, take the power away from the Supreme Court,
Yeah.
and give it to the executive branch.
That
This-
now you see, this is where Biden and the rest are starting to look and say, you got an idea there.
They
And
might
that
have
is
had
being
it right. Are you
that's
out of
being
your mind?
that's being
But-
discussed in the
But
administration.
my understanding
Yes.
is how to circumvent the
Right,
court.
Right.
Yes.
But our Constitution won't allow that. They don't have
What-
that. They do
what
not have
consti-
that in Israel.
what
No, but what they're talking
Well-
what they're talking about is the Constitution is a flowing, moving document. We
living
can
document.
change a living document. We can change it in any way
can-
that suits our purposes.
Well, you can amend it if you get enough states to agree. Come on, it's not over yet.
Yeah,
Yeah. I know. Okay.
I know.
Yeah. All we need is that 28th Amendment of Gavin Newsom.
Observe more in the breach.
Or how about ASU? Dennis Prager. They fired the student union organizer who allowed Dennis Prager
Yes.
and Charlie Kirk to speak on campus, and we proudly here at Yavapai College have a sold-out event with Dennis Prager.
Is it already sold out?
It is sold out.
Congratulations to
Officially.
RWAP for that one. I mean, that was a great thing, and I know that he is going to bring down the house.
If you
in
saw
numbers.
the video of his testimony to the state legislature,
Yes, I did.
fantastic.
He-
Well, a major donator from ASU's cut off the money because it's just what you're talking
Yeah.
about. It's
Yeah.
too woke.
And they fired the unwoke professor because they said that's what the major donor was paying for.
Yeah.
Michael Crow, are you out of your mind?
Are we seeing a renaissance of common sense starting to break out?
A little bit, maybe.
Maybe?
I don't know.
It needs a lot
I don't
more
know.
room.
I'd go that far. What we are starting to see is some pushback, but it's disorganized and it's spotty. You see it here, you see it there, but it's not an organized
You're right.
pushback yet. And if it keeps growing, it will be against all this
Perhaps by
woke
the
hard left stuff.
perhaps by the election.
I don't
Maybe,
know.
maybe.
Who knows?
Okay, I'll tell you what. We're down to probably about 2 minutes, and believe me, the audience here is getting restless. They're ready for predictions. So
I see them in the corner
Yeah,
over
I'm gonna-
there, ready to throw bottles at us.
I know.
Be the peanut gallery.
yeah, there you go.
I got
Okay.
one.
All right, let's. I'll tell you what. Okay, predictions. Let's start with Bob. Go around the
Okay.
table. Yep.
Okay. You guys are not going to believe this one. I think that Tulsi Gabbard is going to play a major role in the 2024 election.
How?
Don't know that yet, but she is going to be
cute.
a major. She's going to
I-
play a major role. You watch.
I agree with her.
Oh.
With you.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it before because of this no labels party.
Well, yeah. That's.
And she would be a perfect vice presidential candidate for a Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on the no labels party.
She's going to.
And
Something's going to
they've
happen
got
with her.
ballot position in 10 states and
And
growing.
and growing.
And Arizona is one of those 10.
Okay. Well, Bob, Tulsi Gabbard. There you
That's
go.
it.
Phil, your thoughts.
Well, I just was agreeing with Bob, and I do think you and I are right that Biden will not be the candidate.
I think he will drop out by the end of the year. Okay, Malcolm,
One more twist.
close to the microphone. Nobody can hear you. Nobody cares. But anyway,
Where does Kirsten cinema play into this?
Yeah.
No
Well, this-
labels.
Oh,
Does
that's
she
a very good
prevail
question.
over Ruben Gallego?
Yes, and she gets the no labels nod
I just-
because there's no primaries, there's no convention, there's nothing. They just name their candidate.
I just read that Gallegos has got a whole bunch more money than
Oh,
she does.
he's outraised her 3-1.
But
The
she'll
Democrats
get,
are terrified
She gets
of
a
her.
third of the Democrat vote. She gets the independent vote. She gets 10% of the Republican vote. She wins.
All right. Thank you, Phil, and thank you, everybody, for joining us on the KYCAPM show. That's it for the panel of knowledge. That's more than enough for this month. All right, folks, we're going to take a break. News is up next. We'll be back next month.